A very, very long time ago, about 120 million years ago, the world was a very different place from what we know today. Imagine a young planet full of smoking volcanoes, dense forests of giant plants, and enormous creatures walking the land. It was the age of the dinosaurs, a time when the sky was a deep blue, but the earth was dry and cracked in many places. Rivers, oceans, lakes, they were rare, like hidden treasures. Creatures lived in thirst, fighting for every drop of moisture that fell from the sky in sporadic rains. In this ancient world, born from the depths of the earth, emerged Syaci, the first mother of waters. Syaci was not a dinosaur or a plant. She was a spirit, a magical entity made of mist and light, in the form of a tall and graceful woman whose hair flowed like waterfalls and whose eyes shone like the reflection of the sun on water. Her skin was translucent like morning dew, and she carried within her the secret of life, water. But how did Syaci come to be? That is the essence of the legend we will tell now, in a simple and captivating way, like a story around the campfire. The legend begins with the Great Drought, a period when the scorching sun burned the earth mercilessly. Plants withered. Large animals like long-necked sauropods groaned with hunger and thirst, and small reptiles ran from shadow to shadow in search of relief. At the heart of a volcanic mountain, where the earth opened like a wound, lived the spirit of the earth called Gorath. Gorath was strong and solid, made of rock and fire, but he was lonely. He dreamed of companionship, of something that could soften his hardness. One night, as the volcano roared, a shooting star crossed the sky. It was not an ordinary star. It was a fragment of the sky carrying the essence of eternal rain. The fragment fell into the heart of the volcano, mixing with the hot magma. From that unlikely union, fire from the earth and light from the sky, Syaci was born. She emerged from the flames unburned but refreshing like a humid breeze. Her first cries were drops of water that evaporated in the hot air, forming clouds that hovered over the mountain. Gorath, upon seeing her, felt something new: admiration. "Who are you, daughter of fire and sky?" he asked, with a voice as deep as an earthquake. Syaci, still fragile, replied with a whisper that sounded like the gurgling of a stream. "I am Syaci, the one who brings moisture. I am the mother of waters that do not yet flow." From that moment, Gorath vowed to protect her, and together they began the journey that would change the world forever. Chapter 1. The Discovery of Syaci's Power. Syaci was curious. Her feet, light as leaves, carried her through dry valleys and arid plains. She touched the earth with her hands, and where her fingers passed, crystal-clear streams of water sprang forth. At first, they were just small puddles, enough for a small pterosaur to drink and fly higher. But Syaci felt that her power was greater. She needed to learn to control it. Gorath guided her to the great Valley of Shadows, a place where the earth was black and barren, without any life. "Here, daughter, test your gift," he said. Syaci closed her eyes and invoked the memories of the shooting star, images of vast oceans in distant worlds, rivers snaking like veins of the earth. She extended her arms, and from her palms flowed a steady stream of water. The earth absorbed it eagerly, and soon a brook was born, singing a soft melody as it ran. The creatures of the valley, which had previously hidden in caves, came out little by little. A group of small herbivorous dinosaurs, the protoceratops with incipient horns, approached timidly. They drank from the water, and their eyes lit up. For the first time, the valley echoed with sounds of contentment, not roars of hunger, but soft bleats of gratitude. Syaci smiled, feeling the warmth of connection. Water is not just life, she thought. It is love that flows. But not everything was easy. The relentless sun evaporated the water quickly, and Syaci grew tired. Gorath warned her, "Your power comes from balance. If you give too much, you will dry up like a river in summer." Thus, Syaci learned to measure, a puddle here for the ancestral birds, a trickle there for the plants that began to sprout. Over time, the valley transformed. Tall trees rose with broad leaves that captured moisture, and colorful flowers painted the ground. Syaci had created her first oasis. Chapter 2. The Enemies of Moisture. Not everyone in the ancient world welcomed Syaci with joy. In the distant sky reigned Zephyr, the lord of dry winds. Zephyr was a swift spirit, made of hot air and dust, who loved the arid vastness. For him, water was a weakness, something that softened the earth and made creatures lazy. "The drought forges the strong," he proclaimed, blowing hot winds that dried everything in his reach. When Zephyr's winds reached Syaci's oasis, the waters receded. The plants withered again, and the animals fled. Syaci cried, and her tears formed a small lagoon in the center of the valley. "Why, winds? Why do you deny us peace?" she implored the air. Zephyr, invisible, laughed. "Because water binds, I free. You are an intruder in this world of fire and stone." Goreth, furious, raised walls of rock to block the winds, but Zephyr was cunning. He allied with Ignis, the queen of flames, an entity of lava and embers who lived in neighboring volcanoes. Together they planned to dry the oasis completely. Ignis sent showers of hot ashes that clogged the streams, and Zephyr spread them like a curse. Syaci, however, did not give up. She traveled to the heart of the primordial forest, where ancient plants like giant cycads whispered secrets. There she found the old root, a millennial tree that had survived past droughts. "Daughter of waters," said the old root in a hoarse voice, "the secret is in union. Water alone evaporates. United with earth and air, it endures." Inspired, Syaci summoned Goreth and asked for his help. Together they created a ritual. Goreth shaped stone channels to guide the water. Syaci filled them with her gift, and even Zephyr was invited, not as an enemy, but as an ally. Surprisingly, Zephyr hesitated. He saw the beauty of the oasis and felt a pang of envy. "Perhaps moisture brings freshness to my winds," he admitted. Ignis, seeing the union, retreated to her furnaces. Thus, the first treaty was made. Zephyr's winds would be gentle, carrying moisture instead of dust. The oasis flourished even more, and Syaci gained her first unlikely ally. Detailed descriptions. Imagine the oasis now. Trees with trunks as thick as elephant legs, leaves swaying like green sails, and streams that reflect the sky like mirrors. Dinosaurs drink peacefully. Young ones play in the shallow water, and the air smells of wet earth and wildflowers. Syaci sits by the lagoon's edge, her hair blending with the surface, whispering songs that calm the beasts. Chapter 3. The Journey to the Great Sea. With the oasis secure, Syaci dreamed bigger. She saw in visions a world covered in waters, vast seas where creatures would swim freely, rivers connecting distant lands. "I must spread my gift," she declared to Goreth. He nodded but warned, "The journey will be long, through wild lands. The large dinosaurs will see you as prey or threat." Syaci departed at dawn, carrying a crystal vial full of her essence, drops that could create springs wherever they fell. Her path took her through the eternal shadow forest, where tall trees blocked the sun, and predators like velociraptors lurked. But Syaci was not afraid. She sang, and her voice attracted allies. Small ancestral mammals like the first rodents followed her, guiding her through safe trails. In a clearing, she encountered a group of hungry dinosaurs, led by a wounded triceratops. The leader, called Thorn, roared, "Stranger, what do you seek in our land?" Syaci raised the vial and let a drop fall. A spring burst forth and the dinosaurs drank, their wounds healing with the invigorating moisture. Thorn, grateful, vowed protection. "You are the mother of waters. We will guard you." The journey continued across open plains, where herds of Parasaurolophus grazed. Syaci created temporary rivers, and the herds followed her, migrating to moister lands. Along the way, she faced challenges. An earthquake opened fissures in the earth, swallowing newly created waters. Syaci dove into the fissures, using her body as a bridge, guiding the water to the other side. Her hair tangled in roots, but she emerged stronger, with veins of water running under her skin. After months, or what seemed like months in ancient time, Syaci reached the edge of the known world, a vast depression in the earth, the cradle of the Great Sea. It was an empty place, a dry basin where the wind howled like a lament. "Here the ocean will be born," she whispered. But to fill the cradle, she needed more than her vial. She needed to invoke the eternal rain of the shooting star. Chapter 4. The Call of the Stars. Syaci climbed the mountain surrounding the cradle, the stellar mount, whose peak touched the clouds. Up there, under a sky studded with stars, she prepared for the ritual. Gorth had sent stone messengers to help her, and Zephyr blew soft clouds upward. Syaci danced, her movements fluid as waves, singing an ancient song she had learned from the old root. "O skies of light, O earth of fire, let the mantle of rain fall that the veins of the world fill with life." And Syaci, the mother, bathed the creation. Her words echoed and the stars responded. A rain began, not a weak drizzle, but a celestial cascade that filled the cradle quickly. Turbulent waters churned, forming waves that lapped the shores. Creatures from all corners, flying dinosaurs, primitive aquatic reptiles, gathered to witness the miracle. The great sea was born, blue and infinite, home to ancestral fish that Syaci conjured from her imagination. But the ritual had a cost. Syaci spent much of her essence, and her body weakened. She fell by the sea's edge, her form dissolving into mist. "Do not fear, mother," said Thorn the Triceratops, approaching. "Your legacy lives in the waters." Indeed, where Syaci had touched the earth, eternal springs burst forth, and rivers were born, snaking across the continent. Gorth arrived, carrying her back to the volcano. There he sheltered her in a crystal cave, where she rested, regenerating slowly. Zephyr, now a friend, brought humid breezes to heal her. Ignis, touched by the grandeur, offered moderate heat to warm the cold waters. Chapter 5. The Children of Syaci. While Syaci slept, the world changed. The rivers she had created branched out, forming networks that nourished entire forests. Oceans expanded and new creatures evolved. Giant turtles swimming in shallow waters, ancestral crocodiles hunting fish. Dinosaurs learned to live with moisture. Some adapted, developing scales that retained water. Others migrated to lakes formed by her blessings. Syaci awoke, transformed. No longer a fragile entity, she was now part of the earth and sea. Her children were the waters, the eternal river, which ran without stopping, the lagoon of stars, which reflected the night sky, and the deep sea, guardian of ancient secrets. She taught the creatures to respect the water, drink with gratitude, do not waste, for it is the blood of the mother. But legends speak of rebellions. Some lesser spirits, envious, tried to pollute the waters with mud and fire. Syaci confronted them, transforming them into harmless mist. She created guardians, the waterfall nymphs, minor spirits who sang to purify rivers, and the guardians of the depths, luminous fish that lit the dark waters. A captivating subplot, the romance between Syaci and a young winged dinosaur, a pterodactyl named Lear. Lear fell in love with her voice during the journey and followed her to the sea. "You fly high, I flow low," she said. "Together, we touch sky and earth." They had symbolic children, clouds that rain over mountains. Expansion, vivid descriptions of battles against pollution. Syaci diving into murky rivers, absorbing impurities into her body, emerging pure. Dialogues with animals, a hungry T-Rex begging for mercy, learning to hunt without destroying springs. Chapter 6. The Prophecy of the Great Change. With the world moistened, Syaci foresaw a great change. In future eras, water will test the children of the earth. There will be droughts and floods, but balance will prevail. She engraved this prophecy on stones along the rivers, so that future generations, humans much later, could read it. Zephyr and Ignis joined her in councils, forming the circle of elements. Gorth, the pillar, kept the earth stable. Together they shaped continents, with rivers as vital arteries. The legend ends with Syaci returning to the volcano, but promising to return in times of need. "I am the water in your veins, the dew on your leaves. Call me, and I will flow." Conclusion. The eternal legacy. This legend of Syaci reminds us that water is life, balance, and love. 120 million years later, her rivers still run, oceans still sing. Let us respect it, as the ancient creatures did.